It is December 3rd. This is Barry's surprise over the hill 30th birthday party. I'm sorry, it's December 9th. We're waiting for Barry right now. It's almost 7:15. They should be here any minute. We're gonna scare the socks off that sucker.
The door swings. It's gonna hit you.
Shh. Act like you're a burglar. You probably have a gun. It's pretty cool. Ooh, it's bright. I'm blinded. Take off that mask. Yeah. Babies. They will. It was just the neighbors, right?
That's right.
I can get this to work. I don't know.
Hey, Barry, how old are you?
Did you turn this? You want the green square?
You want me to keep nulls or?
I didn't see the green
Oh,
square.
you didn't see the instructions for it, huh? Oh, it was on the underneath side.
What?
And then this goes here. Did you turn this on?
Yeah, I had that. That's on. You want me to keep running this or what?
Julie, when did you plan this?
It's not easy. You didn't know anything? Yay! I've been faking sick for the last 30 minutes. Barry, I signed up for tithing settlement, and Barry goes to chiropractic and crosses it off because he says we're going to Vespers at 7. I was like, oh no, now what do I do? I really don't know.
I said, remember we wanted to go to Vespers, and she goes, no, I
I said,
don't really
I'm not
feel like
taking
it.
Em and Amanda to Vespers. No.
I said, let's get a babysitter. And she goes, no. She said, no, I don't want to go. She goes, you can go by
She was
yourself.
so mad.
I guess it worked.
Yeah, there was a bunch of people down the street when we were driving. I don't know if they were just walking or something and didn't come down. I
Oh,
don't
I
know.
saw those cars. And I said something, I said, looks like someone's having a...
Fiesta.
That's someone else. On this street.
You should see the next street down there.
It goes around the bend.
Oh, yeah. I
How
can't
did you
believe-
call these people? I'm
I
always
don't know. I
home.
mailed invitations and our Christmas cards.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Don't call here.
Yeah. It's like, don't call
I told her,
here.
I said, hey, I don't want nothing going on.
No
I told her.
surprise.
She said,
No
what kind of
cake.
cake do you want? I said, I don't want a cake.
So we have no cake.
For my 30th, yeah, I said, I don't want a cake. And so I had her make me cookies. She goes, I have to make something. I said, just cookies. Oh.
They said, don't give you.
I don't think the
I
battery.
changed the batteries last night and it
Before I
worked.
changed the mode that had a B with a little C flashing on it.
The batteries are dead.
Oh,
That's
I
not
changed them last night.
No,
wow.
I got
That's okay.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, I can. Do you have some? Oh, I think, no, we've got some. These were rechargeables, they don't last very long. So I'll get some more.
How did you remember Bob's name?
Roger and Roger, this is Roger had a lot to do with this. Roger? Yes. Roger.
So he invited Ross.
No, Roger did a lot. Roger did most of it.
So now your center of attention, what do you do there?
Yeah. We
Now
want
your center of
everyone
attention, what do you do?
to, everyone go ahead and get some food, and then we'll have everyone sit down and we'll start the roast.
Oh, and black balloons.
Are you embarrassed, Barry?
I was. Yeah. See Ammon? He's like, ah!
Everyone come get some food, and then
The picture.
Oh, did you see it? Oh, sorry. Did you see it, Barry?
No, you mean again?
Roger's been making a list.
I checked it twice.
Okay, then we're gonna go around, and if you've got a good story.
Oh, I made a list. Sheesh. No, there's a few things I thought of that just needed to be talked about.
Be comfortable at least.
I guess I'll start off with what it kind of goes along with what Vi was talking about in the Suburban. This is another one I don't think our parents know. This is one we haven't even talked about. Barry got ticked on this one. It's kind of funny now in a way, especially since we don't own the car anymore. But in the Suburban, I just remember one time. I don't think yeah, poor thing. I don't think I even had a license then. Barry had a license, and Kerry Windsor somehow talked Barry into finally letting him drive a little bit. For some of you people that know.
So you're dead now.
And we'd just barely gotten out of the parking lot at the church. It was after Mutual. And he drives out of the parking lot, starts coming out on Broadway towards Solomon and Broadway where there's a traffic light. And the light's red. And he's still going. And Barry goes, stop! So he looks around and he just shifts it into park. Get out of there! Now get out of there! Barry's just... It was so funny. Well, get out of drive! There's a brake right there! What? I stopped. You just said stop! Get out of there!
I was wondering what was wrong with that.
Wait, wait, and all on the scouts.
Yeah, they were scouts then.
Just a couple little tiny things. Anytime we take a family picture, Barry always gets ticked because I've got him by what, 3 inches, 2-3 inches, and he's always got to get a phone book. Give me a phone book, and that's that. Can't have my little brother taller than me in these pictures, or at least not so much.
Yeah, you notice the mix is about the same height.
Mhm. And he's always got to make sure that I'm introduced as Barry's little brother, because I got him. And a couple other things that I wanted to hit. Barry and I never fought much. We would rarely get into fights, and if we did, they were short and sweet. One punch, his, and it's over. But just one that caught my mind was, I don't remember what we were arguing about. We were just bickering back and forth, and I was getting ticked, and my mom must have been there, because she must have heard what was going on, because finally, I was getting up to going in my room, because I guess I'd had enough, and Barry was leaning back in the chair, kind of like that, one of those lazy boy chairs. He was leaning back all the way and had his hands back behind his head. And I guess he's trying to sleep or something. I came around behind him, noticed I had a free shot, right guy. He got up to come after me, and my mom says, "Don't you touch him."
Kind of like he deserved it, kind of thing.
He hit me right in the eyeball too, not in the eye, right on my eyeball. That hurt so bad.
I think there's another time I threw a book at you too, and Mom wouldn't let you get me, but...
Well, that was just before he went on his mission.
Oh, no.
No, that's when we were
This
kids.
is probably junior high at the oldest.
They argued just before he left on his mission.
I remember him chasing me into your bathroom. But it's still, we didn't fight much, especially compared to some stories I've heard from other people. So that's the one I wanted to say, was when we were real little kids. I wasn't around. This is a story actually I've learned from Barry himself. But he was riding on a bike, and they had a rope tied onto a wagon behind him. He was pulling a kid. Some of you guys that grew up 24th Ward, Trey Coker has. He was pulling him along. Barry's just riding along. Some pigeons flying overhead, so he looked up to see like, hit a bullseye right now.
Alan, you were with me, weren't you? So we went over to your house to rinse my mouth out.
Kisses that same night.
She used to. Thanks, Raj.
What about the time when he shot you?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Okay.
He just told me about
He's
that.
just talking about this the other night. I forgot to write that down. Barry, you know, we would get in little word arguments, not much fights, and Barry decided one time he's going to scare me good. He's going to get me good. And he took a shotgun shell, and he cut off the top, and he dumped out all the BBs. And then he stuck it in a gun, and after a fight one time, I was sitting outside in our backyard. Barry came out with his gun and said something like, "I've had enough! This is it!" And he goes, "Boom! Ah! Oh! What are you-" And he's just laughing. "Shut up! There's nothing in there." You know?
I'm like, you big wimp. It's not even no answer.
And then I showed him this welt on my leg. Big old thing on the leg. He forgot the wad was still in the shotgun shell. That thing just smacked the gun. We finally found that. And he's, "Oh, I'm sorry, Raj. Don't tell Mom." You know?
I thought it'd be a good joke. I forgot about the wad.
I think we ought to run him through the spats.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think so.
Anyway, that's the ones I got. I don't know if we want to. Who else has something to say?
I
got a couple of stories.
Okay.
I just remembered a few. Just for the sake of Mom and Dad House here, these are make-believe, okay? Bob, do you ever remember during that period of time ever coming up missing a cat now and again?
No, don't tell him. Don't tell him.
What happened was when we used to live on 9th Drive, in the backyard, they had a whole big old huge cage with all these pretty finches and chickens and animals and stuff like that around the backyard. And all these neighborhood cats used to come around and bother the animals. They used to tick Barry off because they spent money and time. They brought little finches in the little backyard. And so this is late at night, you know, and you can hear them. The chickens are, you know, squawking, making noise and whatever. Barry takes, what was it, 12 gauge?
16.
16. Takes a 16 gauge out there and then walking out there. And this cat runs off a little bit back by the little pipe where the water used to come through. Anyways, Barry's going over there and he goes, boom! They go around, throw the gun back around the door, and he comes back inside the house, close the door. He sees all these lights going on. And then he comes out, you know, and all these people come out, and he's like, "Did you hear that?" And then the next day, after he went to go look at the cat, and he found that it was Bob's cat.
You really had 15 or 20, so
They did. I'll give one more story then I'll quit.
Sorry, Bob. I never told you. I remember Bob saying, "Man, I can't find my cat. You haven't seen my cat?" No.
What's that smell?
Yeah, we'd go outside and we could say, "Oh, it smells like something died out here." And it'd be stuck in the pipe that was 40 feet long underneath that.
Actually, that was one of the cats. The other one I shot down the alley.
Before I tell this next story, I want to let you know a little bit about my feelings of Barry. Very good boy. A little wild. Yeah, I know. I want to understand. He was a good normal boy. Morals and things like that were strong. You know, when it came to cars and things like that, this guy was the wildest. You know, of course, he had a lot of influence from Bob, the main man dragster, and Dale Wheeler, and Alan got into the act too. But anyway, this is during a particular time in Barry's life where he was dating a gal or two, whatever, that lived on 6th Avenue, 6th Avenue, 6th Drive.
Avenue and Extension.
Okay, Avenue Extension. Anyways, we had dropped off our dates, and then he just was driven around the block and was coming up to 6th Avenue and Extension. Now you gotta understand Barry. Barry loves cars. He loves doing four-wheeling, loves spinning Brodies, loves doing anything like that. You know, just driving wild. Now he is a very good driver, by the way. I was always impressed with his skills. To get me away from death. Just like, anyways, we drive up to this intersection, and I just remember the look on Barry's face. I happened to look over at him, and he goes, "Ooh!" Just like that. And he looked and says, and he said, made a comment about fresh oil. Watch this. Throws it down and just whips out right onto extension, and it's just doing just major Brodies, like 2 or 3 times around, and just smoke. Just all the way up there. Oh,
They made me do it, Mom. They made me.
They made me. It was really loud, really fast car.
That was
Barry
Barry's
had a lot of fun
idea
with
for the glass packs too.
And speaking of glass,
Better gas mileage.
He's spinning Brodies going around, and then he goes and he circles around the blocks, going really fast, slowing down to make the glass packs fire, like a big explosion, wake everybody up. Anyway, in the meantime, this gal who lived right in the corner had called the cops. We didn't know it. Barry is going around the block, comes up and does the same thing. He's right in the middle of doing this, and I happened to look back and I saw, I can't remember if his lights were on, whatever, but I saw there was a cop coming right at us just from Broadway. Okay, now that's not very far. You're right there, 6th Avenue, there's Broadway. Cop's coming. Barry says, "Barry, the cop's coming." He goes, "Oh, shoot!" Boom! Right down the Southern, and turned left, and then he was just cruising down Southern, doing what we used to call the Halstead Noble Special, using the center lane as the passing lane. Just because the cop was chasing him. You gotta understand at this time, Barry had a couple of tickets, and his mom had told him that if he'd ever do anything again, he's gonna lose his license or something like that.
No, that's before I had any.
Was it before he had
Yeah.
any? Anyways,
I knew if I got caught doing that.
Barry was scared to death. His cop was coming. You gotta get
How mad my mom's getting.
He's driving big old Suburban. Cops chasing. We're cruising down Southern, and we come up. All of a sudden, the train lights, ding, 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 ding,
Oh.
ding, ding, like this. Okay, Barry comes screeching up to that. We were still in the middle. We happened to be in the middle because he had pulled one of the last specials. He stops. Stops there, and you gotta get the picture. The trains, things have come down. Cars are backed up. People are looking. The train's coming. The cop's coming. And I think at this time he had his lights on. And the siren wailing a whole bit like this, and it's all tense. We're sitting there, and Barry looks at me and says, "Should I run it?" And I look at the train and look around. "Well, if you're going to run it, you better go now." And his sister waits and he waits and waits and goes like this, and all of a sudden, then he just floors it, pulls out into the center right
Over the train track.
over the train track. You got to understand the way it was then.
Your mom's having a hard time.
I know. And her face is getting red.
A lot of gravel right over by the train tracks. It's not smooth like it is now. Barry just floored it, fishtailed, got right in the center, and then I swear he just stuck. Gravel's flying, the cops coming, people are looking. And I turn, I'm sitting in the passenger seat, and I turn and look just like this, and there's this big white light. I'm sitting there, and I just sat there and watched the whole thing. I was too stunned to think anything, whatever. And we just were barely like bouncing, throwing gravel, and just barely inched forward. I swear, to me, it seemed like this, but that train missed us by about 3 or 4 feet. And this wasn't.
No, it's like 30 or 40, Mom.
This wasn't the trains now. They go slow. This train was moving fast. Okay, we just barely inched forward. And that train goes right on by us. Barry cruises on down, pulls him out in a circle pit. And anyways, that was a very fun moment and a very fond moment.
Hey, Paul, let's go do it again. They don't get Dad, can I borrow the keys to the car?
No,
Shoot.
you're taking yours.
Van won't do it.
Yeah. No.
Every time Ammon comes home, I'm going to fill the tires, see if they're warm.
I don't think you want him to hear
I
it.
don't think I
Get my
would.
news.
No way.
Alright. Well, you better not video this. You'll see this when he gets a little older.
I want you two, Grandma and Mom, to tell someone he was little if there was any. Probably wasn't it. He probably never did anything. funny.
Yeah, when he was about that kid's age, we tried leaving him in the nursery, and he would bite everybody. So I went in there to watch him, and he went up to the little girls, and he'd put his arms around them and give them a big hug. And I thought, look how nice he is. He doesn't bite people. And he would bite it. He'd have his arms around, give him a hug, and then he would bite it. Right where I was in there. And this poor little girl
after that a
big old
couple years
bites on
after.
there. I finally had to just take him with me. I couldn't leave him in there.
Dracula.
Yeah.
I remember a couple of things when we were real young. I mean, Bobby and I go way back. I mean, I wasn't around during all the suburban days, thank goodness. But I remember when we were real little, we used to get irrigation on 9th Drive there. And all of our dads used to have irrigation boots. And we used to go get these irrigation boots on. You know, they'd come up to our waist, and we'd walk around in these irrigation boots. I would look for this picture that we have of us lined up in a row in our irrigation boots. We have it somewhere, but I couldn't find it. But we used to think we were big stuff. But anyway, we really did. We really thought we were a pretty cocky group. I remember when we were like 3 years old.
You were cocky.
But Barry, we always would talk about stories about our dad. We were all real proud of our dads. But Barry was always the proudest, and we could never do better than Barry could about his dad. And I remember feeling like I wanted to pounce him because he'd tell the story that Barry was bigger and better. I remember that.
He started telling these bigger and better stories back then.
Oh, yeah. But I also, now I forgot.
He'll think of it, I'm sure.
Oh,
Very
another
nice
thing I
to
would
see you.
is this might is someone coming in? Barry used to say some things about his mother that I don't think she ever heard when he was little. Because to get Barry to come home, when it was time to come home, he used to get whistled at. And I remember that real well. And boy, Sister Halstead could whistle loud. Barry used to just hold his head and shake, you know, he'd be over in our yard. Why? I remember he could roll his eyeballs good, you know. It's neat. And then the last thing I remember, this was just as I got home from my mission, Barry and I talked. He dated my wife a little bit, being there in the same ward, and I remember him telling me a few years later that that he dated Adele just after he got back from his mission, and he got back about 6 months before I did. And I remember him telling me that she was 18, she was a little too young. And I remember thinking, well, I'm really glad you have that attitude, Barry. I got who I got, but then, 8 years later, he decided he still needed an 18-year-old.
Decided 18-year-olds weren't so bad after all.
I think we did all right.
I have a good story to tell.
When'd you come? I just talked to you. Were you calling from Utah when you called?
Yeah.
No.
And then I got thinking, you know,
2 hours ago.
I haven't visited Barry in so long. I called him and they said it's leaving in like 20 minutes. I thought, I think I'm going to go visit that guy.
Where did you call
I
from?
had trouble, you know, getting to the phone and moving around and being 30 and all. Want to see if I can help you? And I called from home.
From Utah? Is that right? That's why you're in a big hurry to get on a plane.
That's the flight. Yeah.
It's incredible. He just called like 2 hours ago.
And I said, Barry, we have to go.
You came all this way, you better tell us the story.
And you've never done anything with Barry, have you?
No.
No. I don't even know who he is. Who let him
I
in?
heard a lot of people talking and thought, there's got to be food at that.
Nathan, if you got any good roasting stories, we've got
Paul's
a
already
couple
told
already.
us.
Let me just hear a couple and then I'll get on a roll.
Who's next?
Nathan Hale.
Anybody next?
I can tell you
I've
more
already
about
heard his
Brown.
name.
He got down here. He was up at the line. And he got
When I was
Okay.
when I was in Mutual, growing up, I always had Raj and Barry were my role models. You know, if I turned out anything comparable to them, I would be something in life. And I remember as soon as I got into Scouts and stuff, Raj was the one that interviewed me for every time I'd get promoted. And I was about 3 years behind. I was 3 years behind Barry, and I was a year and a bit behind Raj. And so I was always trailing behind all their corruption and everything. And so anyways, one night after Mutual, it was almost, I think it was my first or second night of Mutual. And you guys were going to go throw oranges, and you invited me. And I thought, well, that's what the guys do, I'll go. And we went down there, and we went to Grandma Young's orchard. And you guys were yelling and screaming, oh, there's a diesel coming, it's a free-for-all. And when the trucks would come, they couldn't stop. So we'd actually go out onto the road and we'd start beating on these diesels. And so we were coming back, and I think it was either you or Vi or somebody said that there was another car coming. And it was a lowrider, it was a convertible. And somebody threw a brick through the top of the car. And here I am, 12, I'm dying, there's about 6 guys jumping out of this car and they're all coming after us. I was just standing there, what do I do? Barry was up in a tree, I ended up under a car with somebody that I didn't even know her. I was so scared because these people came out of their house, their dog came out, the dog was sniffing around, they were yelling at the dog to get back in there. Then we had the Rambler in the alley. The alley went kind of like a candy cane shape. And these guys in this car, they loaded back up in the car and they said that somebody went around that way. And Raj and Barry was paranoid that they would come and get the Rambler. So we all piled in the Rambler and we stuck it in reverse. And we went down the alley in reverse, about 100 miles an hour. And I don't know. It was amazing the Rambler still ran after that. It was a rough ride.
That's a quarter mile of alley.
Yeah. We were doing 100 miles an hour in reverse.
That's okay. That's okay.
I know what the Rambler went through before Barry got it.
Yeah, you got it.
Come
It was
here.
amazing it was still running.
Come here.
Yeah.
That's
Belonged to the Rambler all the way.
okay.
One thing we did for Barry got back to the mission was sell the four-wheel drive Ford.
For his benefit.
That poor truck.
Because every time they went anywhere, they said, no, we never. But couldn't get all the cactus out of the tires, and I wanted to have to buy new tires and everything. Anytime they took it, it cost me $60 to $100 on repairs every time they took it. So before he got home, I made sure it was sold.
Were you there when he shot the truck?
Did you saw it for junk or what? I mean, that thing, that's been too.
With a rifle.
Yeah.
Shut his speaker up.
6 That's right.
I think that you ought to let Barry tell that on himself,
What's that?
about how you shot the truck.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't, I will, and you won't like the way I tell it.
I went barbecue and I shot a fox and I was all excited about it, and so I brought it back and I was gonna skin it. And
We
and
were
then I
on a
remember,
scout outing.
yeah, that we're teachers, weren't we? Briggs, I remember, teachers. Anyways,
Yeah. 'cause you were
anyways,
driving.
I remember I forgot to unload my gun, and so I thought, well, I better go unload it. And I had a Remington Mohawk 600 blade. You'd probably remember those. And it got recalled about 3 months after this happened. But I think I took the safety off. I don't remember. I didn't touch the trigger. Took the safety off and it went boom, and went right through the side of the truck. Steve Noble was asleep on the other side. He jumped up. What are you doing? And my ears were just ringing because the windows were rolled up and it was so loud, just right inside the truck. And my dad climbed out of a tent and he goes, "What was that?" I said, "The gun went off." He said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Is everyone else okay?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, okay, well, be careful." And he climbed back in the tent.
Tell him where you shot it. Where did it go in?
It went in the vent on the side where it didn't hit anything on the inside, and then it went out on the outside and blew a hole. But we were all concerned. We thought, oh my gosh, I shot the transmission. There was a little hole on the floor, and I thought maybe went into transmission and ricocheted. We were at Black River. I mean, you had to have four-wheel drive to get out of there. And I thought I killed the truck.
And you had to pay for it.
Yeah.
Actually, his words were, he just got done shooting the truck, and his ears are ringing, and he goes, "Oh my gosh, I shot the truck." What he said.
Were you there, Bob?
I'm gonna say, what's that guy say? Oh my god.
And then I found out later, you do not ever take a gun on a scout outing.
Especially the guy who's not using it. So Blake, we want to go shooting. You're in front. No.
It's because I get that vest.
Well, appreciate you guys coming.
Yeah, where's Dave? Dave, you got some. Alan, you got some.
Alice should. I wonder.
I have
Judy
a
and
few,
Jill
they're
might
just
have some.
small ashore.
Yes, we've got stories for coming.
As you know, Barry played bass and orchestra. Barry's quite a ham in orchestra, by the way. He would stand in the back and he'd twist his bass, and we'd turn around to the cello section, look at him, we'd start laughing. Well, he's the one that started playing off tune. And the old director would throw his baton down, and he'd get upset at us, and we'd have to start over again. And here, Barry start playing out of tune again, and we'd look at him, start laughing, and he just loved the attention. I don't know what it was. But then the cello section started taking on what Barry was doing. One day we just forgot our music altogether. I was first cello and second cello. And
Jill was saying
just the example of Barry's setting, I tell you.
I've got an orchestra story that Barry told me. Do you remember the time he threw up inside of the bass?
I heard about that. I didn't see it, but yes, I heard about that.
I don't remember this. I was probably in
Like
5th
grade
or
or
4th grade, but
You
when
were
he told me
bored.
about the time he threw up in his bass, he kept telling his teacher, "Oh, I'm so sick. You can hold out 5 more minutes," and finally he just threw up and it went all down inside, and no one ever played that bass again.
it filled up the F hole. I told the teacher I'm sick. I said I needed to go, and he goes, "No, just wait a few more minutes."
And well, he's thrown up since then. Maybe
Yeah,
once.
he did the same thing in choir. He'd like to sing out of tune, along with Nathan Hell there.
I wasn't trying.
Oh, you know.
Hey, you need to tell them
That
one about
reminds me of a
MCC.
story.
No, but listen, you know what happened? The result of the story is, in choir, he was singing out of tune. So Garrett, he'd stand up, and you know, when Garrett gets mad, he has everybody sing a solo. So all the basses individually, they'd sing a
They
solo,
probably loved it.
and it'd be shaking like this, and we'd just be standing back laughing. Well, Barry, he was just a funny guy to be around.
It still is.
I've got a story.
Now, Nate, I don't think you're invited. Did you send him an invitation?
No?
That's really starting to flow up.
But I can give him one real quick.
Barry and I, we were in, and there'll be lots that can contribute to this, but you remember when we were in choir at MCC? And tell me who was the choir director?
Hendricks.
Hendricks, there you go. I'm 29 myself, so it's, it's tough and it's going fast. And Hendricks, he would always, that was kind of our chance that we could get together and talk, was choir, and it was a good opportunity, and that's why I signed up for it. He just didn't understand that. And so Barry and I would get together, and Hendricks would kind of gradually separate us. I mean, because we talked too much. But that just added to the fire, because then it required us to yell just a little bit. And if either one of us had a good joke, it just, we'd have to say it a little bit louder so the other could hear and get a good laugh, I mean, it was just, as long as your buddies laughed, it was okay, And so he separated us gradually, and then one day, the guy just exploded. I mean, I think he was on drugs, because, since I've grown up a little bit since then, I think it was drugs. But he called us. You remember when he called us out of the office? Sent us to his office.
Us, but not Paul, because Paul's saying so.
And not Paul. And Paul was as to blame as any one of us. But it was, there's no way he was going to throw out a Noble. We had no loss with the Halstead and Hale, but there were lots of Nobles to come, and he wasn't going to mess that up. That was the base of the choir. Anyway, so he didn't, that was the most amazing thing. I'm glad you remember that. He didn't say call up. I'm still ticked off about his office and shut down the whole choir. In fact, I think he asked you to direct, didn't he? Yeah, I mean, now he's directing the choir, and we're out of it. So we're in his office, and he marches in there.
Didn't you try and call someone long distance on his phone first?
That's coming up. But he came in and he said, I want you two gentlemen to decide if you want to be a part of this organization or not. And he was mad. And then he left. And we're going, well, you know, whatever. You know, while he's out, well, you know, we're sitting here kind of exploring his office. So Barry picks up the phone and goes, I wonder if you can make a long distance call. He's ready to, you know, order diamonds back in New York. On behalf of Hendrix. And we kind of talked for a little bit, you know, nothing about the choir. And then he finally comes back in and wants us to, you know, tell him, oh, we're sorry, we'll never do it again. We'd love to be a part of this organization, you know. But anyway, he told us we were responsible for the whole thing going downhill. So he comes back in, and I'm trying to be a little diplomatic about this whole thing. He's really mad. And I'm trying to calm him down, and he goes, have you decided if you want to be a part of this organization? You know? Barry goes, well, you know, I don't know. And he goes, you don't know? You know, I mean, we've had time to think about it. We're supposed to be crawling back now. Now I'm concerned because, you know, I'm trying to calm the guy down. And Barry's got him going, you know. And he says, well, is there anything you don't like about it? And Barry starts rattling off, you know, I don't like this, we never get on time. He just starts down the list. And I'm like, you know, Hendrix, what he means is, he doesn't mean he doesn't like it only on when it goes too long, you know. I'm trying to clarify, get him going. But we finally, I think, got to join back up. Because
One other thing, you gotta understand, the stinger, when I heard this later, you gotta understand, I know Hendrix a little bit better. Barry says, I don't like the music.
Exactly. I mean, and not just with the knife right there and turn.
Doesn't the end of it go, Barry says, when we join this choir,
Oh,
we
that was the best
got all of our friends to join in. If we leave, they're all going to leave. So you change this, and we might stay.
Exactly.
And he's just begging them to stay.
So finally we decided that Barry was the leader there. And that he wanted us back in.
And you said,
because
we have to
Barry
sit
had told him,
together.
exactly. that if we leave, we have a lot of friends here. And they'll leave too, and you won't have a choir. And Barry's outlining this whole thing, and then it's starting to roll our way. So I'm like, yeah. Lots of friends. We're
And you two get to leave
and
5
then he
minutes
said
early.
we have to sit together.
And you two get to leave 5 minutes early.
No, when it was time to
on
leave.
time.
Yeah, even if the choir's in the middle of a song, we can get up and leave.
You two can get up
Just
and
us
leave.
two. We can get up and walk out, and he couldn't say anything about
The
it.
best part, then we marched back into the choir room, and everyone's like, ooh, you know? And we came back in, and our chairs were separated, you know? And so we marched back in and told the kid that was sitting next to her, you gotta move, we're sitting together. You know, they couldn't figure it out. You know, and he's right in the middle of his last little thing, and hey, that was the bell, we're out of here. We had a good time. That's very excellent with people.
Was the teacher back the next year?
Is that?
Did the teacher come back the next year?
Yeah.
He's still there.
I think he did.
But you got a guaranteed A out of that too, didn't you?
Oh, and
Oh,
a guaranteed A.
there's A.
Yeah, we didn't have to come to class anymore if we wanted to, but we had a guaranteed A if we were
Yeah,
to stick around.
because Barry had told him, he said, you know, this little experience we had, you've kind of tainted. You know, you probably don't feel good toward us, and you might flunk us. So why even bother to go back? Because you know our grades are so good. And so then we worked. That's incredible. That's, you know, if I could.
Talk about an ego.
Wow. And you know, it's, I was just little buddy. There's the ego, boy. This high, I told you, bigger and better.
I don't think ego is the right word. It's part of his.
Blackmail.
No, I think ego's a great word.
Well, it was black. We got half the people to sign up. We rounded everyone up, and we would have taken them with us. We'd start our own. Give them 3 credit hours instead of 1. Huh?
I don't know any actual stories of this, but I've heard that Barry, when he's upset with another driver, as a weapon, he uses his mouth and he spits
Saliva.
in people's windshield.
Yeah.
stories about
That lasts too long.
I don't remember any of those.
Oh, I get so mad when he does that. Roll down his window. Well, oh, I can tell you a few
So
driving
he tells
stories.
us that. I was just gonna defend him, but.
No,
He must be
he
quite
quit for
talented
quite a
anyway.
while, and okay, there was the one time Barry goes over to Phoenix to look at this car for me. Were we looking for a car for me?
Oh, yeah.
You could probably tell this better than I could. I don't know if I should tell this.
Be truthful when you tell it.
Yeah, yeah. Barry goes over and well, now I'm trying to remember.
I don't remember either.
Oh, okay. I'll tell. I don't want to tell that one, but I'll tell this other one. Barry's driving down the road, and there was this Mexican guy in this old beater station wagon that was doing something. What was he doing to make you mad? He was doing
Probably
something
driving
to.
too slow or
Yeah,
something.
probably driving 45 in a 45. I don't know. Barry gets all mad, and the guy's saying, pull over, and Barry's just laughing at him and saying, that's why your car looks like it does, is because you drive like that. And he's going on and on, saying all kinds of things to make him mad. I can't remember exactly what he was saying, but he's not. We decided maybe better take his license plate off his car so that when he's driving down the road, any road enemies he might have might not recognize him. But that's not really why we took his license plate off.
Look, he's non-Californian.
Yeah, but he'll roll down his window every now and then and spit on people's windshields.
My boy, I can't believe that.
No, just throw it out
No, I've been
They
very.
don't I've never seen one of those. It's really
It's really sick. Judine's got a couple.
I didn't know about this spitting on windshield. This surprises me because this is about spitting and Barry's temper. We'll laugh about this now. Barry might not laugh. So one of my neighbors, I can't remember, we were getting dropped off after a game or something, and one of my neighbors came over and was making jokes or something, teasing Barry or something, and he spit on Barry, and we were all like, what are you doing, you know? And Barry, he had broken his wrist then, he had a cast on it. Oh, no. And it got real heated, and Barry went up and hit him right in the jaw with his cast. And this was real intense, you know, and everybody was kind of, and then he drove off.
Didn't it break his jaw?
No, it didn't break
Wasn't
it.
that the time?
I think it did.
Oh,
Because he didn't come to school for about 2 weeks. Yeah. No, I went home, you remember? We were going to a
Get it
dance.
out, real loud.
Well, I went home and I changed because we were all dressed up. And I
you
came back. Yeah, and I was getting ready to hit him, and at the same time he's trying to apologize. I said, why'd you do that? Well, I don't know, I'm sorry, smack! And then I took that left hand with the cast and went, boom, and he was just out. Poor guy. Then I jumped on and started pounding on him. He was already out.
But then it ended on a good note. I mean, we went in the house and my dad was going, what happened? Barry's not like that. And then he came back half an hour later and my dad was so impressed. He even tried to hunt down my neighbor and tell him he was really sorry.
Barry did. You never told that half of the story.
It's good.
He just likes to leave it here and I broke his jaw.
Story about
What's that?
What's that?
What's that, Paul?
$2?
Which one?
$2.
Oh, I don't know where that started.
Van Buren.
I've heard about this. I wasn't there, but I've heard about it.
They drive by the girls and they go, $2, $2.
But there's a prostitute out there.
Yeah.
And I was just joking around with some friends. I rolled down the window and I stopped and I said, $2, $2. And she goes, pay it to your mama, honey.
No, you're not forgetting the last
Punchline.
And then she
I don't remember.
flipped you off.
Oh,
That sounds like
He sure put a lot of good memories in my life at those age.
Thanks, Bob. For all the bad stories. My mom would hate me forever. My dad
I have a funny story.
Okay.
It's not really, It's not being or anything.
Chevrolet for it.
I remember we went on a
Oh.
triple date. I don't remember who I was with, but we were in your white Toyota Supra. And you guys took us to that pizza place.
Oh.
And you said, okay, you guys, we're going to rob this pizza place. You got bananas, and you held bananas. You had handkerchiefs over your mouth. And you had bananas under your shirts, and you went in there and you ripped off the pizza. And you said, no, you guys got to cover up the license plate and stay in the car and get it ready. And as soon as we jump in, you got to pull off. So here we are. There were 3 of us, 3 couples, and the girls were looking at you. No, we're going to get caught. And there was a cop just down the street. And so we get in and we get away, and it happened. Well, then we went to his apartment, and they start eating the pizza, and we said, we're not going to eat the stolen pizza. We couldn't believe that these guys would do it. And then Barry, he turned and he goes, oh, you guys, we set it all up. We paid the lady under the door, and we blessed the pizza. You can eat it. That's a true story.
I have a little amendment to that. The fun part of putting that one together is we all got down in the basement. We were all talking down in Barry's basement. I said, hey, Barry, did you cash my check? And he like, oh, I forgot, you know. And I said, well, oh, great, you know, because I was going to loan you and Paul money for that. And the gals are kind of listening, but trying not to, you know. And it turned out, so we didn't have any, you know, so we clearly established there was no money. But we all had our dates there. And then Roger brought up some story back in Florida that, did you hear about those guys? That they actually robbed a pizza place and no one even cared.
With bananas.
Yeah.